Hello. Hello, sisters. Hello, hello. Just give everybody some time to jump on. So excited. So excited. If you are here on the live stream, please say hello in the comments. I'd love to know who's here. Mhm. Here on the live stream. Oops. Okay. Welcome, sisters. Welcome, beloved angels. How are you doing? And just give everybody some time to jump on before we get started. I welcome you to get super comfortable. Relax, just really relaxing into your body in a way that feels really pleasurable for you. Hello, Lauren. Welcome, sister. So good to connect with you here live. So lovely to see you or see your name. Hmm. So, I'm really excited about today because this literally was sparked from my womb. And whenever there are massive sparks of inspiration that come from the womb, it means it's about to be really juicy and very, yeah, very needed in terms of for what our sisterhood needs. And so today we're going to be talking about pleasure. And whew, this could be such an activating topic. So just taking a moment to like stretch it out. Shukuyama, sukuyana, shikuyana, ki. Just coming into the body a little bit more. It's really connecting with touch. If it feels aligned. Feels good sometimes just to like give your body some supportive touch. Even just a hand on your heart can be so comforting. And of course, hand on your womb. Hmm. So, mm, I'm just really enjoying this beautiful cup of cacao medicine, which is deeply connected to my own experience of pleasure. Working with cacao brings me a lot of pleasure. She's a very pleasureful medicine. She's very rich and vibrant and opens the heart and the womb so deeply. I work with her a lot in my womb healing. And so, yeah, for those of you who are new to the circle, I know there's a lot of new sisters in this space. Welcome. My name's Alasia. It's so nice to have you here as part of our sisterhood, whether you're here live or on the replay. So today we're going to be talking about pleasure. And I really just want to invite you at this moment, as you're tuning into this transmission, wherever you are, to intend to receive a new understanding and awareness around pleasure of the feminine. And just allowing that to be welcomed today because pleasure can be kind of a an interesting topic to talk about, and there can be some activating conversations around that with our relationship to pleasure. So I want to start out by just asking you, what's your relationship to pleasure? Pleasure is about receiving, and so it's very interconnected to your feminine of being able to receive pleasure. You know, we don't force pleasure. It is about receiving it through the feminine body. And so the relationship with experiencing pleasure can be really telling around where we're at within our own feminine process of allowing and like taking up space and connecting more into our sensuality and our feminine grace and being comfortable in that skin, knowing that when we're in our feminine energy, we're in our power and magnetizing your desires comes through being in your power. So when you're really connected to your womb and you allow her to guide you with what feels good for her, for your yoni, in a pleasure practice and a way for your sensual body, you're going to come into your power more. Your pleasure and your power are very connected. And that's why this is the only power and pleasure practice or palace. We're going to be talking about practices, but um, this is why it's so intrinsic to your power because when you're feeling really connected and you're receiving, the feminine is born to receive, okay? That God literally designed us with pleasure centers that men don't have. And so our bodies are designed to be cherished, to be doted upon in this way of pleasure. And today I'm going to be sharing a few different things. So this is going to be an energetic transmission, like always. Usually when I do lives like this, I'm dropping codes for you. So this is going to activate your DNA. It's going to spark things in your own womb consciousness, in your own path of womb sovereignty. This is all connected to the work that we've been doing through the womb healing immersion over the last month. This wave of womb sovereignty is also connected to this. So as I speak, I just invite you to observe your body, what sensations come up, really connect with your body, really connect with what sensations are coming up and see how you can hold the sensations and tend to them. Because sometimes when we talk about these things, our body might contract, our yoni might contract a little bit, our yoni might open up. All of this is natural. Okay. It's all natural to your process and it's totally perfect. This is just about observing and not necessarily doing anything to change it, but just noticing the subtleties of like when I talk about these things, how your body responds. And I want, as I said at the beginning of this, like intending to receive. It's like I want to invite you to just intend to receive all of the codes, all of the medicine that you need through this experience. Just setting that intention, all that's in your highest alignment through this transmission. This will allow you to receive more deeply and expand. Mm. And I'm also going to be answering your questions. We have questions throughout this. So if you are here live, I would love for you to say hi. And if you're here on the replay, hashtag replay, let me know you are here. Drop questions. I want to start a conversation around this. The way we heal this is through conversations through sisterhood. The way we heal our relationship to pleasure, the way we expand more through pleasure is by talking, by having sister chats like this. That was a big reason why my yoni was like, you need to go and bring this forward for the sisterhood because we need to talk about this. And we didn't go into it in depth in the immersion because that was more focused on healing. This is more about the connection to your power and your pleasure through your yoni. So let's talk about how your yoni is a portal to pleasure. Okay. I want you to imagine for a second here, okay, your breasts, okay? It's like this triangle, right? You have your breasts and then they point down to the yoni. So it's like this triple goddess, right? The way this is how I see it. And so this is a code that I'm sharing with you. This triple solar goddess triangle, right? This beautiful triangle. If you have your breasts and then you comes down to your yoni, and it's like this pleasure palace, this sacred pyramid, okay? This pyramid palace of pleasure. Now, of course, you have other pleasure centers like the ears and the neck and the mouth and, all of these other places. But we're talking about this palace that's really centered here, okay? So this is a portal, right? It's this portal. And your yoni is like the gateway to the palace, okay? So we're going to talk about how to work with your yoni to allow her to open more. And let me know, like, what's your relationship like to pleasure? Let me know. Do you have a hard time receiving pleasure? Do you feel guilty receiving pleasure? That's a lot of what women hold around this of like just literally, if I were to tell you tonight, hey, sister, I want you to spend 2 hours doing a pleasure practice tonight where you do whatever you want, create an amazing meal for yourself, take a really long hot shower, take a bath, light candles, go buy yourself roses, pick them out beautifully, pick out a flower arrangement, go pick out, a decadent dessert. Create some kind of really amazing food dish. Go buy yourself a new piece of lingerie or have a piece of lingerie, that you love. Lay it out on your bed. Sage your room, light your candles, put together a playlist that allows you to connect to pleasure more. I personally love I love instrumental like music. I love the harp music for my pleasure practices. And soft piano and like strings, right? Really sensual music. If I were to tell you to go do that tonight, how does it make you feel? Are you excited about it or does it feel like a chore? You know? It's feel like, oh, I don't really have time for that. I don't have time for myself. Um, I'm curious. And maybe not tonight, maybe this weekend. If I'm like, hey, spend an hour for yourself, create pleasure and play with it and get curious about how do you actually enjoy things. We're all busy, we're all doing these things. It's like when we're in our enjo when we are in our joy and in our pleasure, we become magnetic to our desires and abundantly things will come in. Money, relationships, opportunities, expansion when we're enjoying life. If we're not taking time to experience pleasure in our lives, our feminine is going to feel shut down. She's not going to be alive and thriving. And this is why the womb and creating that sovereign womb space is so important because the womb will guide us more deeply into our pleasure. Okay. So let me know if this is resonating for you. I'm curious. I would love to hear how your relationship to pleasure is. Mhm. Okay. So, how to work with your yoni to allow her to open more. Okay. This is really important because if your yoni is shut down or clenched or tight, not really open, it's going to limit your accessibility to more powerful orgasms, um, powerful, pleasureful experiences. It's going to do that. Okay. So, um, what's going on here? So I'm just checking the comments. Let me see here. Because this isn't working. I don't know if you are commenting, I can't see them. Um, let's see here. How can I join? Hmm. Been having so many technical difficulties lately. All right. Okay. All right. So yeah, my loves, if you are here, could you just let me know in the comments because sisters are saying they can't find the live. Uh, so I'm not sure what's going on. But if you are here, can you let me know so I know this is working? Because I see it on my phone, but some sisters are like, I can't find you. So, oh, hey, Darlene. Hi, my love. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. All right. So I'm here. I'm just gonna, all right, take a minute. All right. So, okay, let's get back into it. So, all right, what were we talking about? Right. So, okay, building this pleasure, understanding with your womb and your yoni. Hi, Charlotte. Hi, my love. Hi, Belinda. Hi, sister. Oh, amazing. Okay, thank you, my loves, for letting me know that you're here and this is working. Oh, blessed be. Okay, so weaving this back in. And if you are just joining live, I recommend going back and listening to the start of this so you can connect to the intention on the replay, and that will open things up even more deeply for you. So, our relationship with pleasure is deepening the more that we go into the womb and we allow the womb to experience more pleasure, allowing our feminine to experience more pleasure. And when we're in our pleasure, when we're in our joy, that's when we magnetize. That's when we can manifest really easily. That's when things just drop into our lap. I experience this so much. It's crazy. Like things that I thought would be really hard are just so easy because I have been cultivating this relationship to receiving and to pleasure through the womb space. And this is what I was talking about during the immersion. When you build a relationship with your womb and you guys are like this and you're in flow with her, when you do this, you are just going to instantly start attracting your desires without even trying because it's just who you are as a divine feminine being. You know, I have a mentor and I love the way that she talks about this around like it's just about like being in the feminine that is natural to us, where things just come to us. And this is my understanding. This has been my understanding as well. It's like when we are more embodied in our power, right? Think about when you're in your power and when you're feeling really grounded in your power. Do you know how things just kind of like happen magically? It's like that is what happens. And so when we work with our womb space and our yoni, okay, around this to open more, it's just going to naturally start to happen. So there isn't as much trying to get it right, or it's about allowing. And so how you can begin to work with your yoni to allow her to open more is having that relationship with her and recognizing when she feels contracted, when she feels shut down, when she isn't open, asking her for consent. So before I do anything sexually, unless she's the one leading it, which oftentimes she is, before I do any kind of pleasure practice with myself or with my partner, I ask my womb, I ask my yoni for consent. I ask her for consent because I lived most of my life never asking my womb if she wanted to have sex, and oftentimes having sex when I didn't want to, because I felt like I was obligated to. Let me know if you can relate to this. Um, where you just like you weren't ready, you weren't turned on enough, you weren't, you know, actually desiring that, but you kind of had sexual relations anyway, and then it might have been painful or uncomfortable, or afterwards you felt like shame, because your yoni wasn't actually open to receiving that energy. Okay. This is something that we go through as women because we've been in the womb amnesia corridor, and it's not always in the forefront of our mind to ask our yoni, like, hey, are you open to having sex? How does your yoni feel about pleasure? Does she desire that? Is she new to it? Does she want more of it? Does she have walls up? And there's different tools and practices around de-armoring and working with yoni tools, which I actually have a whole week devoted to inside the womb sovereignty journey around this. I'm really excited about that week where we're going to develop our own yoni womb healing rituals and ceremonies for yourself. And I'm going to give you some really beautiful codes around my triple solar goddess practice, which you're absolutely going to love. I'm so excited about that. So, work with different tools around supporting part of your womb sovereignty journey, right? It's like there are so many ways to go about this. But what I really wanted to bring forward and what as I was having this deep, profound experience the other day with my womb, that's why she said, you need to bring this forward for the whole sisterhood. Even though we're going much deeper into the journey, this is important to talk about here to awaken and to connect the sisterhood with this because when you have a relationship with your Yoni, she will open more. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example. I have had a lot of sexual abuse in my life, this lifetime, and then also on a soul level. I hold a lot of the Sophianic we'll just say miasma of what has happened to the Sophianic bloodlines of the Grail lineages. You think of Mary Magdalene, who was Jesus's wife, and she was, turned into this prostitute, right, by the narrative. And you think of these women, and it's like the targeting that's been done to the Sophianic bloodlines has been horrific. All kinds of torture programs, all these things, hybridization of our DNA. I won't go into all of that. We go into that in the womb sovereignty journey to understand the depth of this. However, because of that, sex has always been a challenging area for me in my life. I went from being extremely shut down from it to being very promiscuous. Um, and yeah, that's what can happen is like we can feel very shut down or we can be very open and kind of like promiscuous. And I've had both ends of the spectrum, and there's no judgment here at all. I have so many stories I could tell. There's no judgment around any of our sexual history or past in this group. Let me be very clear about that. I do not judge women. And I want to state this because I think it's important when we go into this work of like sometimes we're afraid to share vulnerably because of judgment around experiences and things that have happened. And I want to share that I don't hold judgment for anything because every woman's journey is unique and individual, and it's so sacred. And, as I've been holding these womb consults and getting these intake forms for the journey, I've been having these really deep conversations with women around what has experienced, what has been experienced for them in their journeys. And I can't even begin to tell you like how profoundly grateful I am for these conversations because it's healing so much by talking about it. So I want you to know that your story is welcome here. Your story is welcome here. Your wisdom is connected to your story, sister, and your medicine. Whatever you've gone through with your womb, with your sexual experiences, it's part of your wisdom and your medicine. And when you can reframe it and understand it like that, it just allows things to be a little easier. So I really want to state that. Um, it's just important to me. So you know where I stand in that, no conversation is too heavy. Nothing you share is too much for me. Um, Nothing you share is too deep. Okay. So when we're going through this, if our yoni isn't connected to us and we don't have that relationship with her, we're not going to be able to open as deeply to these orgasms and to these experiences. So anyway, what I wanted to share is my yoni has been very shut down. Okay. So, and this is personal, but I feel called to share it here because it's important. So, I was basically super dissociated throughout sex throughout most of my life, completely just dissociating, like at never being present. Even when Elijah and I got together, which was almost 6 years ago, we're very connected sexually, but at times I would still dissociate. And when my mom passed away in 2020, basically that experience began to unlock all of the trauma in my body. And I started going into the body and doing trauma healing, working with a trauma therapist. basically all the things that I had never dealt with. I started doing that in 2020. And that really showed me a lot of what had occurred in my life sexually. And so it was very hard for me to connect to sex in the same way. I couldn't. And so it was like I was rebuilding a relationship with what sacred sexuality actually is and not with sexual misery. And if you've never heard of sexual misery before, I'll give you a snapshot. This is the inversion of sex. This is the porn industry, okay? This is the degradation. This is the degradation of the feminine and of needing to, experience pain during sex through like, all kinds of stuff. And there's no, I mean, sexual misery is a program that is targeted to women and men and to be in those unhealthy sexual patterns. Okay. It's just what's present in the collective and what we're healing as we awaken more to a more conscious relationship with sacred sexuality and sexual alchemy and true sex through God and through union. So I held all these things and I was tight. I couldn't receive my partner. um she was shut down. All this trauma started coming and my womb was she was closed, and it was really hard and it was devastating because I so deeply wanted to receive my partner, and I couldn't. It was too much for me. And so I've been working on this for, three and over almost 4 years now of rebuilding my relationship with safe, sacred sex in a way that my yoni can actually open. And it has been miraculous through Sophionic medicine, womb healing. And so now my yoni can actually open to receive my partner, and it feels good and it doesn't hurt, and there's no stress or panic or dissociation happening because I've done all this work. And so what I want to ask and just suggest and share to you all is that the next time, okay, the next time you're having sex with your partner or even with yourself and you feel your yoni start to close and you don't feel ready, even though you've asked for consent and she said yes, but you don't feel like you can truly open your heart, open your yoni, lean back, open your womb to take him in more deeply, okay? His energy, him physically. Ask your yoni what she needs. Commune with her in the present moment. Ask her, can you open up a little bit more? What do you need to open up a little bit more? She will guide you. Okay? She will guide you. And this is what you can do to open yourself more. I had the most incredible sex the other night. I have these, okay. I'm actually not going to talk about that here. I'm just like, I can feel Sophia being like, that's sanctuary material. That's not Facebook material. Thank you. That's like such potent sexual alchemy. I can't talk about it in here. Thank you, Sophia, for the reminder. Shukuya masukuna. And this is why there's only so much I can share on Facebook because the codes are just too sacred and they go in the sanctuary in the journey. So, anyway, I share this part though because I want you to know that your yoni can open and she can become more of an open space when you can connect with her, when you can listen to her, and when you give her what you need. And this will allow you to be able to receive more pleasure. It will allow you to be able to receive more powerful orgasms. And it will allow you to drop so deeply into your feminine body that you go through a quantum shift when you have this experience and you start embodying more of your feminine energy. Let me know if that makes sense. I just want to make sure that you guys are like, because I know I'm speaking in some like shamanic terms and stuff. Um, and it's just like this is the way the channel's coming through, but I want to make sure that on a practical sense, who like it's computing, I guess. Mm. Mm. Facebook can handle it. Oh, that's funny. That's funny, Angel. Not everything. There's a reason why Sanctuary of Sophia, the medicine container, where the womb sovereignty journey is held, where the shamanic oracle initiation is held, where all of the deeper medicine containers are held off Facebook because Facebook isn't in resonance with the depth of the medicine. And for those of you who have been in my containers and who are coming into the womb sovereignty journey, you will understand this when you come into the space. It's a very different experience. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. Okay, amazing. Amazing. I love you too, Angel. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad this is resonating. So, yeah. So, and this is all about like breathing and being and holding the sensation of like, okay, you're in a process, you're with your partner. You can feel maybe a little bit of stress around it. You can feel like, oh, I really want to have an orgasm. Oh my God, am I gonna block myself? Is my yoni gonna shut down? Am I in my head? And it's like drop deeper into your feminine, call in that feminine power and ask your yoni, what can I do to support you in being able to receive more? Literally commune multidimensionally with your yoni, with your womb. She will guide you and then do it in real time, and you will be amazed at what happens. And this all comes back to building that relationship with your womb consciousness on your personal path of womb sovereignty. So, when you have this conscious relationship with your womb, it's going to allow your yoni to safely open up and receive more pleasure in your entire body. And feminine is the divine feminine reclamation is a journey of embodiment, which means literally your identity is shifting. So the more you consciously connect with your womb, your identity is going to shift through embodiment practices, through pleasure practices, through how you show up, how you're being, and you make those decisions from who you are as a divine feminine being, right? When you think about, and I talked about identity work and the integration, immersion, the immersion integration circle. So if you want to know more about identity work, I dropped a really powerful transmission in that circle. It's in the guide section. You can check it out. But when we're talking about divine feminine reclamation and embodiment, we're talking about identity work here. And you quantum shift in your identity when you start bridging the gap and closing the gap between where you are and where you want to be. So when you feel like you want to be in a different place with your abundance, with your sex life, with calling in your divine union, with calling in your mission, with being more in your feminine energy and having things be more easeful, where you are now and where you want to be. Everything in between is this gap, and that's where you want to close it. Okay. And having that conscious relationship with your womb and allowing her to connect to you and to share with you like who you are, what's in your womb, what gifts you have, what needs to be cleared, all of these things, clearing out the cobwebs in the womb and allowing more of the power and the womb chalice, the wellspring to overflow, filling up your womb, going into your whole body and allowing you to move through life more sensually and more feminine and taking more time for yourself and to be in your power and taking these moments of pleasure, of decadence, right? And these are the things that we're going into more deeply into the womb sovereignty journey. This is the work, okay? So there's so many ways as women that we block ourselves from receiving pleasure because it doesn't feel safe to parts of us. Think about like your first sexual experiences, okay? How were those? Your first sort of like sexual awakening, you know? How old were you? Where were you at in your life? Are they good memories? Are they awkward? Or the most likely, were they traumatizing? Mine was. I had very traumatizing sexual experiences as a teenager, and younger. Like I said, a history of sexual abuse. So pleasure is confusing, right? Is that the story? What's the story? And this goes back to identity work. What's the story with pleasure? Oh, I can't experience pleasure because it means like I have to give something back, or it's wrong, or I did something bad. I'm curious, what's your story to pleasure when you sit with that for a moment? Let's just sit with that for a moment. Mm. Your sex has been painful lately. Oh, sister, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, sounds like an opportunity to ask your womb what she needs for sex to be more pleasurable. Yeah. Are menstrual health issues, including irregular periods, connected with pleasure? In maternal family line, they have irregular periods, including myself. I've developed this like a part of my identity. Yeah, so menstrual health and irregular periods are definitely connected to your womb consciousness and what's in your etheric womb, what's in your bloodline. So, um, doing ancestral healing for your bloodline around the womb health of your lineage is really important. I do this in my sessions. Um, this is a really big thing. I had a client, and I told this story in the immersion, but I had a client who I was working with, supporting her in her womb healing journey, which she then came into union after we removed reptilian genetics and all these things. And then she had something pop up where she had a physical symptom pop up, and she knew she needed to work with me to get it cleared. So we did a session, and I saw all of this stuff in her bloodline on her mother's side, connected to some really deep things, some really deep pains, and that she was carrying. And so it came up for transmutation, and we cleared it. And then her physical symptoms went away within 24 hours. It was gone. It hasn't come back because of it was connected to that bloodline. Um, Miasma, which is unprocessed pain. So if you have stuff going on with you see it like in your mother, your sisters, or your aunts, including irregular periods, it's probably a bloodline ancestral thing going on. And that can absolutely be looked at and cleared, and to see what it's connected to, what timelines it's connected to, what origins, where does it come from. We'll be doing this in the womb sovereignty journey, and I also do this in my session. So yeah, sister, if you need support, feel free to reach out to me about that, because it's um it's a very common thing, where we also take on the stories as well, as children, how we witness our mothers have their periods, and then we kind of take that on as our own truth. But if it's also in the bloodline, it's going to carry down until we clear it and heal it. Yeah, yours were traumatizing. Oh, the man was a child molester. Oh, sister. Nishikuyama kuyana. Yeah, I'm just honoring that. I was 3 the first time I can remember. Very traumatic. Mm. Oh, I'm just honoring your shares right now. Oof. Just bringing in some healing frequencies, beloveds. Talking about some deep stuff here. So, just bringing in some Sophianic medicine healing frequencies. Sanari, Maishu, Maishu, Just allowing those to land, supporting this space. Yeah. Thank you all to the beautiful sisters sharing. Our stories are a part of us, but we don't, this is the beautiful thing. And you're all here because you're conscious ascending women and you understand the power of healing. We can nurture those parts of us that went through those experiences, and we can become that divine mother to those parts, hold space for them, and we can unburden them, and we can transmute whatever it is that happened. We can transmute it and clear it from our field and allow that part to be free. Okay. This can absolutely be done. And it will create so much more space. As someone who's been doing a lot of healing around these things, somatically, shamanically, at the same time here, what this clears when we can acknowledge and witness and hold space for those parts, allow them to show us what we need to see, And then we can heal it by our presence and by bringing love and releasing it from our body in the way that, like, asking our body, how do you need to release this? This will set you free in so many ways and allow you to come home to your feminine in such a deeper way, you know? And if you need support, please reach out to me. Like, I hold one-on-one private sessions as well as the womb sovereignty journey. So there's ways that we can work together on this that will fit your different needs and your budget. Because I know a lot of you have been reaching out. You necessarily can't do the journey, but there's other ways that I can support you in this. And I'm here and I'm open to that. So know my inbox is open to talk about these different ways that we can work with each other to support you. Okay. And know that you have the strength as well to do this work. You're all powerful women. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. Okay. This is really helpful, sister. Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, I'm so glad it was helpful. I'm so ready to clear the pain and blockage in my womb that is causing painful periods and painful sex. I'm so tired of it. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Of course you are, sister. I'm so feel you. It's so frustrating, right? When we're having painful sex and periods, it's so frustrating and painful. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've like sobbed trying to connect with my partner and like I freak out. I go into a trauma response. I can't receive him, or we try to connect and it's painful. And then I'm like sobbing. And of course, he's the most amazing man. He's been so understanding, never judges me, never forces me, never pushes me, but it's like this frustration of like, oh, like why, right? There is a pathway of freedom from this work. And Hannah, I'm not sure if you've watched the womb healing immersion, but I really recommend checking that out if you haven't checked it out yet. It's in the guides section of this group all 3 days. The replays are available for like another 8 days. So if you haven't checked it out yet, I think they'll be really supportive for you with your process. Yeah. Yes, I will just cry in disappointment. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, that's the grief. That's the grief of being disconnected from our pleasure and from our power as women. And these are the things that we go through when we're holding things in our body that are misaligned. This isn't how God designed us. Okay. And that's why, like, I talk about this because it's important when it comes to womb sovereignty. Okay, there's two main things here. We've got the external control of like the medical system that is wanting to shut down the womb through pushing birth control on you when you're like 13 and putting, hormones into your body that shut down your womb. Okay. And hysterectomies are the second most common surgery for women, second most common. Now, of course, there's a time and a place. Sometimes that needs to happen. Of course, one of my best friends, she has ovarian cancer right now. She's going through chemo. They removed her entire uterus. They removed full hysterectomy because she had tumors and it needed to happen, right? And it's like that's amazing that they could do that to get out the cancer, right? But it's like understanding like all of these things that the medical system tyranny tries to shut down the feminine through, okay, we'll just do a hysterectomy or just, take this birth control or put an IED in or like force C-sections, all of these things around birth. Okay. That's a whole nother thing, right? Of like the medical abuse that happens in the hospitals when women are giving birth and all these things, sovereignty being overridden by the medical system. That's one part of womb sovereignty. The other part, which isn't talked about as much, and that's what we're doing here in the womb sovereignty journey, is understanding what's in your etheric womb, what's in your light body, because as we all know, what's in our consciousness, we project out. We live in a holographic reality. So our consciousness is projecting this. And so even though everything feels solid, it's a hologram. So whatever templates that we have, that's what's projecting out into the field. And that's why shamanic field work is so powerful because we clear old templates, we bring in new templates, higher templates, your reality changes. That's just how it works. That's metaphysics. That's how our reality works. So when we go into the etheric womb and we see, oh wow, you have like a poverty curse in here, or you have this ancestral miasma on your bloodline, where women have been having miscarriages, and this is why you've been having so many miscarriages, like things like that, right? All of these things, or there's death programming in your womb, or you have reptilian genetics, and none of this needs to be approached with fear. It's just like we all have it. Like we live on this planet. The womb is the most targeted area in the light body. So having implants and like etheric blocks in the womb is just part of being a woman, and it's all able to be cleared. There's nothing that we can't clear. Nothing is with God, anything is possible. And I've seen incredible, miraculous results from this work and healing the womb etherically, energetically. And then you pair that with physical embodiment practices and sisterhood. And it's like your whole entire reality shifts. And that's what we're doing in the womb sovereignty journey. And that's what I've been teaching you guys in the womb healing immersion and the master class to bring awareness around these. Because when we go into the etheric womb, it connects. When we have physical symptoms, it's because there's something going on in the light body and the energetic body that has become so much that it's causing physical symptoms. So it's really great in some instances of like, wow, I'm having a lot of pain here. What is that pointing to? What have I got going on emotionally? What have I got going on energetically? And how can I quantum shift that so I don't have this anymore and rewrite the story? And this is all part of the Sophionic medicine work realm. So I want you to know that no matter where you're at in your journey, these things can be cleared. They can shift. I'm living testimony of that, and so are my clients. So nothing is hopeless. Okay. Anything is possible with God. Truly, truly. And I hold that timeline for all of you. That's what I said in the immersion, like the morning of the immersion. Gaia Sophia was like, Alicia, I need you to hold the timeline that every woman is sovereign in her womb for the feminine collective. And I'm holding that so strongly because I believe that. And I believe in the power of each and every one of you being able to heal and clear these things so you can have a more amazing sex life. So your periods aren't, knocking you down every week, once a month. So sex becomes more pleasurable. So you can be in your power and your purpose. So your yoni is open and happy where she feels good and feels alive, and she inspires you in your creativity, and you're magnetizing all of your desires and your dreams and your abundance, and it's just easy. I believe every woman has that availability. That's a huge part of my mission, and I am holding that. So if you don't believe in it, know that I believe in it, and you can take some of my belief if you want to. Yeah. Okay. Mm, all right. Okay, cool. You're planning on watching it this weekend. Amazing, my love. That's great. Yeah. 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 You love sex, but there's been pain during sex. It's a major issue with me and my beloved. Yeah. Yeah. So there could definitely be some things stirring up, right? Because you've been awakening your womb consciousness. So there could be some things happening there that require your presence. That's usually what happens when we start to heal our womb and unlock things. There's usually things that come up that require healing and presence. And once we do that, then things start to open up. But, healing's on God's timeline, and it's really about your personal process. Yeah, it is what is right. I'm not sure what that means, my love. So I'd like to open it up for any questions. I have a couple more things I want to talk about, but if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. Lauren, I'm so glad it's landing for you. So you can begin to access this pleasure palace in your body. I think your body is a temple, right? We all know that. You are a goddess. You're a queen. Your body is your temple, okay? Think of your body as a pleasure palace. And how does your pleasure palace want to be experienced, right? It's like even talking about it, I'm like, oh, my body wants to be touched. It wants to be massaged. It wants to take a bath. It wants to just feel alive. It wants to feel loved and cherished. And every woman has like different sexual codes of how she likes to experience sex, right? And different, like almost like sexual blueprint of like what feels really good. And this gets into sacred sexual alchemy. And there are a lot of you, and I know this because this is what's been coming up in the womb consults that are holding sacred sexuality alchemy codes. Okay. And that's why you're coming into the womb sovereignty journey because you're holding these and they're coming online to be unlocked. So, you know, when you start to really connect more into your body and your womb, you come into your power. And this is really about giving yourself permission to experience and to take up space and to not judge yourself. Okay. That's really important when you're playing, when you're getting curious. Approach your relationship with pleasure in a curious way and journey through your womb like it's a mystery because it is. You know, think of the womb, it's like the darkness, right? It's like what's in here? Illuminate, right? That's why with these consult calls, I call them womb illumination because the womb is literally like I'm reading your light body and the womb is illuminating. Here's what's here that I want to clear, and here's what's coming in to help get us there. Because sometimes we might feel the bigness of like, oh, I need to process this, and it shuts us down. So when we can feel what's coming on the other side of that, it's so expansive, right? And the womb will show you both sides of it. So your body is a gift. Your body is sacred. It is precious. Tend to it like it is a pristine palace of pleasure and power. Your body holds your power. The more you can drop into your body and love your body and not judge your body and your desires, the easier it's going to be to experience it. So notice, oh, I judge myself because I like this, or I judge myself because I have too much sex. I don't have enough sex. I'm not interested in sex. I want sex all the time. Like, if we have judgments around that, it's going to suppress it and suppress that womb chalice. So, tuning into what feels good in this moment. And I invite you this weekend to explore your relationship with pleasure. Like I talked about at the beginning of this call, what would it feel like to take an hour to devote yourself to pleasure? I love pleasure through food, like I said, through cacao. I love pleasure through water, and it's interesting. It's been very interesting because I live in an RV right now. So I don't have a bathtub. And you guys know I've been going to the hot springs a lot, which has been totally opening up my feminine body. I'm obsessed. I feel like I need to go there again next week. Um, but like, what are the resources you have? Do you love to eat chocolate? Do you love to have fresh flowers in the house? Do you love to light candles? Do you love oils? Do you love to wear, sexy lingerie? Do you love to, you know, move through your sensuality? Like, what really connects you to your pleasure, to your power, to your feminine, and play with that. You know, I love pleasure through perfumes and water and soft things. Oh, yes, I love that. Perfumes and water and soft things. Oh my God, I can relate to that so much. Smell is such a big one. And water, yes, and soft things. I have this really amazing blanket. Well, it's not here. It's too nice. It's too nice for the RV. It's in storage. It's like a beautiful UGG blanket. And it's like my special blanket. I don't take it out for like special occasions because it's too nice. But yeah, I loved working with that. Mhm. Do you go into any tantric practices of how to harness the orgasmic energy so that the energy benefits the body and isn't released externally? Are you talking about in the journey, sister? We do, I wouldn't say it's tantric per se. I mean, it is, but I don't like to put a label on it because it's not what you would typically think of tantric, but we do talk about that when we go into some of the weeks. Yeah. Yeah, we I go into that with the pleasure practices in week 5. around being able to channel your energy through your sexuality into your creations. And we have a whole week dedicated to creational power as well that we talk about that. So yeah, good question. Mm. Mm. Okay. So yeah, you're invited to take up space this weekend, spend some time with your womb, spend some time with the concept of pleasure, do something pleasureful for yourself. If you do, I welcome you to come back and share it in the group, make a post, let us know how it went. You can comment on this, you can comment in the group. And yeah, the womb sovereignty journey starts in 11 days on March 12th. I'm so excited. We have a beautiful group of women who are coming in, and I'm still holding consults. And so, yeah, we're still forming our group. If you are interested in joining us, if you're interested in wanting to learn more about it, send me a message. We can connect, potentially get on a womb consult call, see what's happening in your womb, see if the journey is aligned for you, and then, yeah, really tune into what's coming forward for you on your personal path of womb sovereignty. So, yeah, feel free to send me a message. And just if you're needing support at all, I also just welcome you to send me a message because, like I said, there's different ways that we can work together as well. If you're not necessarily feeling called to a sisterhood journey, but you want to go a little bit deeper into your personal process, there's some one-to-one work we could do as well, which is available. So thank you so much for being here, beloved sisters. Thank you for being a part of the sisterhood. Thank you for your courage to do this work. It is so rewarding. And I want you to know I see you and I honor you. And just know that with God, all things are possible. And your intention is so powerful. When you set an intention and you pray and ask God to deliver it to you, God answers our prayers when we come from our hearts, when we share so deeply and we commune with God and with Sophia. Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, I'm so glad it was so helpful. So amazing. Thank you for being here. I love you all so much. And yeah, feel free to send me a message if you are feeling the call. Have a beautiful, pleasureful weekend, sisters. Take care.